Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches recently announced that they would be partnering with FanWord. FanWord is an AI-powered software that helps them write up some articles about sports coverage. I sat down and talked with the Assistant AD for Communications here at SFA to talk more about what this program means, and in addition, I also talked with a student journalist and her perspective on the matter. Jacob, today we are talking about the Fan World collaboration with SFA.
Sure.
Kind of tell me how that came about and why SFA is doing that.
Sure. No. And again, thank you for being here. So the way we kind of came about the partnership with FanWord was kind of at the beginning of this calendar year in January. There's a lot of momentum surrounding the Lumberjacks and a lot of positive things happening in the athletic department, and so we felt like we were doing a really good job of, I guess, the normal tasks that we're faced with in terms from a communications office standpoint. But we kind of felt like we were leaving a little bit on the table in terms of being able to, truly tell our student athletes stories. Kind of something that I've said to my assistants and to those that I talk with daily in this department is we want to humanize the box score a little bit more, because our athletes do great things on the field and on the court, things like that, and our job is to promote them when they do that. But the thing is there's people that are doing that have unique stories, that come from unique backgrounds, that have maybe had to overcome adversity, different things like that. And so we really want to try to tap into that and who are these athletes that are making these big plays and doing these great things on the field. Well, let's learn a little bit more about them. And so I say all that to say that FanWord is a company that's kind of built around the ability to first-person storytell. That's kind of some of what their platform offers. If you're familiar with the Players Tribune, of kind of a professional outlet, I think it was Derek Jeter that created that to kind of give athletes the platform to kind of talk about their life, things they've had to overcome, different things like that. And so kind of FanWord offers that, but then they also offer kind of just a lot of help with just the daily tasks that the communications department is faced with, whether it's generating player bios, ready to edit draft templates like that, for multiple types of stories and things like that, with Player of the Week nominations or conference, all conference nominations, things like that. And so we looked at it, and it was something where I was familiar with some colleagues that had used it or that are currently using it across the country, kind of use them as a resource. How do you guys use it? Has it been beneficial to you? Got some really good feedback from them. And then the one thing that kind of set FanWord apart from just, I guess, your normal AI, I guess, if you want to call it that, is the fact that it's a company that's it employs people that have been in these positions, that have been athletic communications professionals. They've been in marketing, they've been in social media, so they understand more about that. So it's crafted by people understanding the needs of people that are currently in these offices and positions, and kind of helping them with those tasks.
Gotcha. And before this point, who were writing those tasks, or was that something that y'all just didn't have the manpower for?
So we have an office of 3 in our communications department. It's myself, and I have two great assistants. And so we're tasked with writing those, whether it's game previews, game recaps. I mean, anything that's been on that website, it's probably come from one of us. And so we were tasked with that, and we're still tasked with that. We're not. I think there's a misconception that maybe we're going to just sit back and maybe prop our feet up and press a button and let AI just generate whatever it generates, and then we're just going to copy and paste and go on about our day. And that's just not how it's going to be. The human element's not going to be lost. We still have to be good crafters of the written word. We still have to know how to storytell, and we're still going to storytell because that's our job. And so this is just something that kind of helps us get a little bit quicker. It's going to help us to break down the box score a little bit quicker. And then we're going to be able to add that depth and that detail and the human aspect of a game recap, and if that makes sense.
Gotcha. And I don't know the ins and outs of SFA's program, but I know
Sure.
that y'all have a journalism program.
Yes.
Sports journalism, is that something that y'all could kind of give students tasks to do, or is that kind of limited for y'all?
Absolutely. No, that's actually a really good question. We have. This is the 3rd athletic department that I've had the opportunity to be a part of in my career. And this athletic department, just like the other two, have only been as strong as the student workers that we've been able to employ. And that's whether it's been athletic communications, marketing, creative content, videography. I mean, you name it. We need student workers. And so this isn't a move because we don't want to rely on our journalism department or we don't feel that students can get the job done. This is just more so to help the current full-time employees in the office do their job a little bit more efficiently, streamlines our processes, helps us become a little bit more, it saves us more time so that we can then focus on other aspects of maybe some things that we don't get to do as much of, or maybe even venture out to do more things such as the storytelling. So yes, if I would say this, if there's a SFA student, a current student, or even a prospective student that's looking at SFA and has a interest in sports journalism or sports writing or sports statistics, and not just that, but marketing, like the other things I've named, hey, we are willing and able, and we're always looking for people that want to begin their careers. I mean, you can step out that door right there and walk into any of those offices and ask anybody in there about their start in college athletics and how they were able to get their foot in the door, and they're going to tell you it was because I was able to be a student worker someplace, whether it was here at SFA. In fact, a couple months ago, we hired one of our student workers to a full-time position because he'd done such a great job for us. He deserved the opportunity to hang around in the Piney Woods a little bit longer. And so, we're on a college campus, and if part of our mission isn't to help develop people that have an interest in things that we do, then I think we're really missing the point. And we've always valued our student workers. We're always looking for student workers, interns, paid, unpaid, you name it, and we'll always continue to be. So this isn't a partnership that's going to take away from that, or it's going to make people not want to come help out. If you've got an interest in sports writing or sports journalism, come talk to me. I'd love to see how we can get you involved and how we can help you, maybe jumpstart your career.
And to kind of go off of that, from what I'm gathering, this AI program isn't meant to take away from any of the staff or anything. It's kind of just to help y'all. Do you predict in the future that it could either take away a job or kind of give more employment opportunities in the future?
Sure. Yes, you're correct in that. It's not to take away anyone's position. In fact, like I said, a couple months ago, I think it was about around mid-May, we were able to actually add a full-time position in the communications office, which was a blessing. And from my perspective, I don't see this, at least specifically here at Stephen F. Austin in our athletic department, ever being anything where it takes away anybody's job or where anybody loses their job so that AI can do it for them. The biggest thing for us, and I think I mentioned it earlier, is the human element is key in all of this. And I personally have a journalism background. I'm maybe one of the few people still left that enjoys writing for fun. And so I grew up around it. My dad was a freelance sports writer for years. My mom could have been an English teacher. She's still someone that edits my long form work that I do on the side, just because I value her expertise in that area so much. And they've been a big support me. So I have a journalism background. As long as I'm here, I never would want AI to take away from someone's ability to do their job, because the human element is key. The AI can break down a box score because it's numbers, names, and statistics. But AI is not watching what happens on the field, the quarterback evading the sack, or the home run that was hit, or the goalkeeper stretching out to knock away a potential game-winning goal. It can't see that, but we can, and we're still going to supply that. And so, and I would just add too that I think as long as we're here, and long as the current administration in the athletic department is here, from the top down, Mr. McBroom to Ms. Dorsey, they're fully in support of this. But there's a trust there that they have to know that this isn't a crutch. This isn't something that we're going to just use and we'll just let AI do it. That's not our angle here. It's a tremendous tool, but it's not a takeover by any means. And so, long way to answer your question. No, I don't think that this would ever be a situation where AI would actually take a full-time position away from someone.
Absolutely, and I think it's very important to kind of set that straight. I saw
Sure.
a lot of people who were very against it, so I
Absolutely.
think it's important to kind of set
definitely.
that down.
Yeah.
How does the program work? You mentioned that
Sure.
you can put in the box numbers and you can put in the player's name. How does that software work for y'all?
And so for us, and again, we're only a couple of weeks into actually having the ability to kind of click around in the program ourselves to kind of see what all it offers and how it's going to, I guess, benefit us the most. Because at the end of the day, our job is to promote and be of an assistance to our student athletes. So they're kind of at the forefront of it. So we're going to see, hey, how can we best utilize this to put their stories out there? And so from I'll just speak on kind of, I guess, a game recap preview, because I know that, or game recap situation, because I know that's kind of some things that people have talked about in the past. Is it's XML based, which is an XML file that our stat programs generate once a game is complete. And so we're able to load that file into the program, and it's going to break down the box score, and which is just basically the final stats. It's going to kind of, it can really generate whatever you want it to. Give me the top performers, give me the trends and different things like that. And over the course of a season, it's going to be able to read not only the box score that you've put in, but the previous ones that you've put in. And so it's going to be able to build basically a season-long trend list, season-long season highs, and different things like that. And so that's stuff that we as a communication staff already do. It's just the fact that we have to use Excel and we have to kind of go in and manually input it. And so to have a software like this where it can kind of do a little bit of it for us, we can come in and then that's when we can add the detail. And the important thing to note is that there's 100% editorial control with the SIDs. It's never going to do anything that we don't want it to do. Let's be honest, like AI can produce maybe some corny things, right? You read it and you go, oh my goodness, that's bad, And so that's why I say that it's still important that we're storytellers and that we use the written word to promote our student athletes the best way we can. And so that's kind of what we're going to be able to do, but not just with game recaps. It's going to help with interview transcriptions, being able to transcribe those quotes so that we can get those out to the media a lot faster. We're going to be able to utilize it for game nominations. So it'll take, player of the week nominations. So it'll take those XMLs and it'll be able to, for football, you're only going to nominate for the previous game. But for sports like volleyball or soccer, there may be multiple games or matches in that nomination window, and it's going to be able to compile those stats a lot quicker than we could and be able to generate, okay, hey, this was our top performer. Let's put them up for player of the week. And so really, when you dive into it, it's really about streamlining our processes and how we can just be a little bit more efficient. Because it's not a tool to take away from the things we do. It's just to help us do it a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficiently.
Absolutely. Do y'all predict it'll be ready for the fall season?
Yes, I believe it will. In fact, we've already kind of used it for a couple of stories. In fact, I know my assistant Jason used it for a soccer. The Southland Conference put out their soccer preseason poll, and he was able to utilize the software, and he generated put in the information and took the different things, generated it, and then he went back in and obviously put that human touch, put some of the things that the software just doesn't know because it doesn't know it, right? And so he was able to go back in, add some more of that important detail, important information, and so it's already been of benefit to us. But one of the big things we're certainly looking forward to is being able to use the first-person storytelling, because it's kind of a all-in-one package where you can. Student athletes' schedules are very busy. It's tough to maybe find a 30-minute window sometimes to sit down and talk with them. And so this is something that we can send to them, and when they have a moment to catch their breath and they would like to share more about their story or about whatever it is we may be interviewing them on, they can put in text answers, they can put in audio answers, or they can even do video answers. And if it's audio or video, it's going to transcribe it for us, and we're going to be able to utilize that and maybe start to begin a first-person story. And of course, the ability to collaborate with the athlete to say, like, hey, this is kind of what we're leaning towards as far as your first-person story. What do you think about it? Because we want to make sure that this is truly your story. If there's something in it that you don't like, or you're like, it makes it sound like it's this way, but it's actually this way, we can make that edit, we can make that change. And so I guess that's one of the more exciting features of it for me personally, is because at the end of the day, wins and losses, they come and go. stats are stats and box scores are box scores, but the human element, what makes these athletes who they are, that's what's important. I think that's what our fans want, and I think that's what we're going to be able to deliver a little bit more on into the fall and into the spring.
Absolutely. And one of my last questions to you
Sure.
is, I don't know if you know it or not, but do you know how much this program is costing SFA?
I don't know the specific numbers, but I can kind of break it down to you on a per sport basis because this will be a program or I guess a suite of tools that will benefit all of our athletic programs here on campus. And so anywhere from probably $250 to $350 per sport. It's going to be about the cost is probably around an eighth of what it would be to have a full-time position, which I think anybody that's in any type of leadership position in college athletics would always want more human bodies, right? But sometimes the budget just doesn't allow for that, and that's okay because I'm thankful that we were able to add one here just 2 months ago. And so, looking at it, very cost effective, especially considering how much I think we're going to benefit from it and how much we're going to be able to use it. And so, again, just thankful for the support from the administration above me that sees the need for it. They understand the hours that we put in. They understand the different things that we kind of have to juggle at times, and to be able to utilize a software like this to kind of make our life a little bit easier at certain stages of the athletic schedule is certainly a blessing for sure.
Perfect. And that was my last question for you.
Okay,
Is there
great.
anything else you would like to add on or just to say?
Um, I think I covered it. I mean, again, thank you for being here, and yeah, it got a little bit crazy on social media, I guess you could say. But again, just to reiterate, especially from the student worker standpoint of, again, nobody in any of these external offices, and probably even if you go down to the other end of the hallway with some of our other administration offices, everybody would have probably a little bit of the kind of the same journey in terms of they started somewhere as a student worker. And so, again, this move isn't to say that we don't want people to come and help us out. And that's furthest from the truth. We just know that right now we need additional assistance, and this software is going to allow us to do that. But if there are any SFA students out there that have any interest, even the slightest, and you're like, I may like it, I may not, hey, come give it a try. We'd love to have you. We'd love to sit down with you and talk through the different aspects of what we do, because we wear a lot of hats. Everybody down there wears a lot of hats, and so we'd love to be able to explain that to you and see how you can join the department and again, be able to kind of jumpstart your career. So we're always open to that. We've always been open to that. Again, the departments I've been able to be a part of have only ever been as strong as the student workers that we've employed, and so that's never going to change as far as where I'm at and what I'm concerned with. So we welcome any and everyone.
So, Kylie, kind of tell me what you first thought whenever you saw that SFA was partnering with Fanword.
I was very disheartening, a little bit disappointing. I feel like the university has had a lot more reliance on AI technology lately. I've seen it in flyers around campus, and now that the athletics department is using it, it kind of feels like a little bit of a letdown. In all honesty.
And since you do write for the Pine Log, how is kind of like your sports department? Have you seen a change with that or kind of less people writing for sports?
I don't know too much about it because I am not a sports writer myself, but we work separate from the athletics department. But we do have a sports coordinator. His name's Aiden Fierro. We have a sports coordinator, and we have a couple of sports writers or contributors, as far as I know. And then we have a lot of photographers that will go to the game as well and take photos and write cut lines and things.
What kind of precedent do you think this sets for SFA to kind of utilize from a program like this?
I'm not really too sure. I feel like there's a lot of unknowns with the use of AI going forward, and it's kind of contradictory because we're taught to not use it. It's against policy to use it in the campus, and yet the university is utilizing AI. So it's kind of contradictory. And um, I feel like my biggest issue with it is it's taking the opportunity away from students to be able to help the university with creating content or writing stories, because I saw that Fanword does feature stories and player bios, and I feel like it'd be so much more meaningful if we um, used this opportunity to showcase our students' abilities. And it wouldn't cost anything, really. You could get a lot of students on board as people building their resumes or create an internship. that way. But it's much more meaningful when it's written by a human, I think, versus than just, lack of a better term, being lazy with it and using AI.
What is your kind of biggest concern with it? Do you think it might be unfactual in a way, or do you think, like you said, taking away those opportunities from students who can do it?
I feel like the biggest thing is definitely taking away the opportunities from students. Um, there's we have a lot of talented people that be more than willing to write in mass communication, in journalism, and even creative writing. I'm sure would be down to help the athletics department write like that. So, um, in a way, it's kind of, it shows that there's not, in a way, I feel like there's not a lot of trust in students to help write those things if they're not providing those opportunities to us. It takes that opportunity away that someone could have greatly used to, like I said, build their resume or, um, you know, utilize their talent and be able to showcase it in a way that's meaningful.
Is there anything else that you would like to add on or just say about the project? Those are all of my questions for you.
Okay. Not that I necessarily know of. That was just my biggest thing that rubbed me wrong with it. Um, it's just, it doesn't really, sorry, I'm so used to being on that side of the camera versus this end.
No,
So
I
it's hard
understand.
for me. Um, um, but yeah, I feel like for students, it's a letdown, it's disappointing, and it could have easily gone to a well-deserving, a job like that could have gone to a well-deserving student. And honestly, multiple jobs students could have fulfilled those roles in the department and writing those stories for the players. And I don't know, it just, it was a wasted opportunity. I feel like they could have looked at it a little better.
Since school is starting back up, do you foresee, more students wanting to write, maybe for the Pine Log or for the athletics department? Do you think you might encourage some students to do that?
I'm not sure. I'd be more than willing to spread the word and even volunteer to write myself. I'm always willing to jump on an opportunity like that and get my name out there and even get SFA's name out there. But yeah, I feel like there would be, if they would have presented the opportunity to students, I feel like there'd be plenty that would be willing to help take care of that. Because I know they're using it for the load. I know there's a heavy load with trying to create all that with as big of an athletics department as that's growing. And I feel like we have plenty of students that would have been willing to help take some of that load off and learn and gain experience at the same time.